that Nidus worm?
No, no, that was
No.
Tal'Darim
That was
Alter.
Tal'Darim, yeah. But it, am I, where are we going here? Okay. Getting stuff set up. So why do you think he picked this map from?
This is a really nice map. It's a really big map, and I think it's something that maybe Hyper is looking to go into more of a macro mode, and we'll see what Optical has in response to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, just dealing with some people. And once again, worth mentioning that signups to this are on z33k.com. Look for CESN's Player of the Week, and we're taking Master Level and higher every week, and the highest signup will play our holder for the seat. This week it was RH, as we mentioned at the beginning of the first game, and he is a Grandmaster. So we got two Grandmasters actually this week, which was great, but most of our signups are Master Level players. Hyper is a Master Level player. And once again, both players sticking with their races they have to because they signed up with those races at the on the signups. But Hyper definitely he said his weakest was against Terran, and it definitely showed there. That Reaper, especially early, did a ton of damage, particularly for one Reaper. It was weird that he
Yeah,
didn't deal with it a little bit better.
yeah. Optical RH's multi-pronged attacks really had Hyper kind of in a bind there. Although he did deal with them pretty well. He had some really nice fungal growths. But now he's saying he's never seen someone use battle cruisers, and yeah, I mean,
That's
Optical just
yeah,
had some really nice timing pushes. He was just, it was just those multi-pronged attacks that, those professional Terrans are known for now. You know, those triple, quadruple drops, and yeah, it's just kind of hard to do. You know.
yeah. And well, take a look right now. We got Hyper down here in the 5 o'clock position, and we got Optical over here in the 7 o'clock position. So they are spawning on the same side of the map. And we'll see how soon they find each other. But yeah, it was a weird game from RH in terms of Terran. It was nice to see a player sort of deviate a little bit from the Marine Marauder ball with a medevac that we're so used to, and is so frustrating, but also extremely boring to see the same strategy from a Terran player every time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I mean, he really changed up his strategy a lot. He still had that core Marine combat shield backbone, but he supplemented it with a lot of Ravens and a couple battle cruisers. So
Right.
I sort of liked it. It had some interesting flavor to
And
it.
the Seeker missiles in
Although,
particular were fantastic to watch, and we don't see those nearly enough. Normally, Ravens just sort of used as detectors, and sometimes you see auto turrets, but Seeker missiles is real rarity, and it was really fun to watch.
yeah, I think
So
people don't really realize that seeker missiles can actually do almost as much damage as a psi storm or a fungal, and more damage than a fungal growth if they land. So, really well placed seeker missiles can be a game
right,
changer, and
and
we saw
particularly
that
against
as
the
he
Zerg that
wiped out
has
those
really no
villagers.
anti-air aside from a couple spore crawlers. Those were very, very effective. Now we see Hyper has gone ahead and got a spawning pool after a gas. He's at 15 supply right now, so I think it went up around 13, so nothing too early from him. And we see what looks like an early command center from Optical RH. So he's going to go ahead and probably fly that right down to the natural. Use it as a wall early, which is interesting. Normally see a barracks or another supply depot here to wall this off. So Hyper's gonna have to find that soon. He's got his Overlord in here at the main, but he hasn't seen the command center, so he's got to find that fairly quickly. Although Zerg players, normally expand early anyway, he's got to really get on that and make sure he doesn't get out supply or out incomed here because he did last game, and that was one of his major problems aside from losing so many workers.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And it looks like he's not going for an early expo build. He's actually going for fast lings with speed, and that could be really bad news for Optical here, as he did go for that 15 command center into barracks. And if he doesn't get enough units up enough fast enough, he Optical might be in some really deep trouble.
Yeah, I don't think this wall is going to protect him fully from these Zerglings. It looks like to the top left of his command center there is a that's not fully choked. We'll see if that is the case. Yeah, it's not. He just put a SCV through there. So right now we see four Zerglings coming across from Hyper, and he can legitimately just run up into the base at this point. There's one Marine coming out against four Zerglings, and the Zerglings, if they get us around, is going to have a very, very clear advantage. And we see a supply
Yeah.
depot coming down just in time, actually, from RH. So he should be okay. Those Zerglings can't run up into his um, mineral line. So, but we'll see. There's only one Marine here.
Yeah, that
And
Marine will be able to fend that off pretty
yeah,
easily, and it looks like he's just going to start using his command center as a macro command center for now, just building into an orbital, getting some extra mules. And Hyper did expand behind this, so he's not going to be really behind at all.
yeah. I mean, he must have seen that when he ran up there with the Zerglings as well, so he knows. Okay, um, he has to fly that down somewhere. He's got to move it down there somewhere. So I'm going to have a mineral advantage here as long as I get it up quickly and saturated quickly. And he's gone ahead and rallied his hatchery down here to this second. So he's going to try and get it saturated as quickly as he can, which is the correct move. And we see a couple Marines now coming up from RH, but nothing. I got a factory back here, another gas coming up. So, but nothing too crazy other than this orbital command, which he's using to get. He's using it to pump out SCVs and getting a really great. Let's take a look at the income tab. He's gonna have a nice harvester advantage. He doesn't have it right now. It's 22 each, but we'll see.
Yeah, with those mules, he'll have an advantage, especially with the double mules. They are both orbitals, and it looks like he's going for that delayed 1-1-1 as we saw last game. And wouldn't be surprised to see a starport come up here pretty soon, as he hasn't built.
Moving this command center down here. Hyper's got these lings here, so he's gonna see. Okay, he's moving it down, and he's also still. If he gets this around here, he's got 4 lings. He could. Oh, now there's 4 Marines down here. I only saw 3. So.
Yeah, but if he's not careful, he can run him right into the
there
main.
He goes.
That's exactly what he's doing, and he could get a really nice scout, at least on this factory. As
he can definitely hit this mineral line. I don't know why he's hiding back here. RH obviously saw him run back there. He's bringing all of his Marines back here.
He's bringing a lot more lings in though, and he is getting a Banelings nest. So maybe he's just waiting to morph those into Banelings, which could be extremely
He's not gonna have the
deadly.
time though. These 5 Marines have seen these, and they are running all the way up to him. And Hyper's gonna save 2 of them, and I don't know where he's going with these.
I think he's just trying to scout out the rest of his base.
I think he's just trying to
attack.
buy himself time, actually. As you said, with these Banelings, you see 5 coming up outside of this natural. And there is a wall here of barracks now from RH. And he's lost those 2 Zerglings Hyper in the main. But he could be able to bust this. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, that is a triple Rax wall, and he's getting some bunkers behind it. So he's going to need a lot of Banelings to bust through that. And he might be making kind of a mistake here if he goes for too much of a push. And he is down now by a couple of harvesters.
Yeah, he's down 7, so 31/24. And Hyper, once again, bringing these overlords out. And it's always good to have overlords out, but you got to place them so that they're not going to get killed for absolutely no reason. Like, if you have 1 in the middle of the map, that's good for sight. But if you have 6 in the middle of the map, that's just sort of wasteful. And that's what happened to Hyper last game. We saw him. Here he comes,
it looks like here comes this attack from Hyper. He's bringing in a lot of Banelings.
He gets one of those bunkers. Almost gets 2.
The other barracks is on fire, and all these lings actually are not going to be able to do a whole lot as these bunkers did finish. And these SUVs
he's bringing more, and he's bringing more, and he's going to keep pushing.
He's bringing more lings in.
And he's going to get a couple of Marines here, but he's going to lose all of them. I don't know about that second push there. He almost got the second barracks as well. He killed one of them. So RH lost a bunker there, but at what cost to Hyper? You see, RH has a Marine out here. He's going to lose
trade
that
there for
Marine.
Hyper, as he lost a couple hundred gas worth of Banelings there for pretty much nothing. And it looks like Optical's going ahead and getting a bunch of Hellions again, and he did research Infernal, pre-Infernal Igniter, so these Zerglings are going to get pretty much roasted in a second
flame.
here.
But we will see, though, Hyper has to transition now at this point. It looks like he's going straight Zerglings right now, and that's not going to work. You see, you guys got the Baneling Nest, but it's not going to work unless he has a ton of them. And this wall, as you mentioned, is very, very nice from RH. 3 barracks behind, with 2 bunkers behind it, and a supply depot behind it. And he's got a couple of SCVs here that are ready to repair anything that gets busted
My God,
up.
it looks like actually Optical's going to go ahead and lift up these Hellions and put them in a medevac, so he's going to have a Hellion drop. And Hyper did see this with the Overlord, but did he see it in actuality? We don't know.
Yeah, it looks like he did, because he's moving these Zerglings back in tandem with this medevac, but the medevac is going to get to this natural, no problem. Drop these Hellions, and another drop from RH.
Was there, and I don't know if he's going to be able to stop this.
He's got 2 drones.
Start to get roasted.
But those Zerglings are getting in there.
That's actually a really nice surround with those Zerglings. And those Hellions did get about 8 kills, but he's going to mop that up really well.
Yeah, it was a good job by Hyper. He knew he was going to get dropped again. It happened to him the whole first game, so he's ready for it. But he's behind 45-30 now on the Harvester count. He's going ahead and getting another hatchery again. Once again, I don't know if this is the right play from him in terms of going ahead and getting another base as soon, like right as he loses a ton of Harvesters at his main or his natural. I don't know. What do you think about that, Ron?
I mean, it's when you see a Terran going early expo, it's always good to get that extra 3rd hatch. You always want to be an expansion up. But I think the real issue is just the fact that he lost Harvesters in the first place, and the fact that he's not saturating them particularly well. And actually, Optical's going to be able to scout this. And I think the real problem also is that he's not getting these closer expos. He's taking the ones further away, and that means he can't connect them by creep, which is going to make Hellion drops and drops in general all the more effective. And I sort of disagree with that.
And a ridiculous scout right there from SCV scouting from RH going right to the hatchery, and I don't know what to tell you there. That was just great lucky scouting, it looked like, from RH, finding that right away, right as it came up. So see if he moves on it. But at this point, RH just sort of walled himself in and looks fairly content to just go ahead and drop stuff into Hyper's base.
Yeah, and I mean that's not a bad strategy. I mean, two-base Terran can hold off for a really long time against just Lings and Banelings.
We see another
And
command center actually as well from RH going up as soon as he saw that third from Hyper, and he's got another drop going across now. It's got 6 Marines and a Hellion in it, and yeah, Hellion, sorry, and it's going into the natural. And once again, Hyper saw it though, because that Overlord is just chilling right there, showing him any sort of cheesy flight stuff RH might pull, and the Zerglings are back with a great amount of time. RH is in a position where he has to decide whether or not to drop here, and it looks like he's
yeah,
not. But he is pushing at the same time with 2 siege tanks and a bunch of Marines here into this natural, and all that's back here for Hyper is 7 Banelings, and those are going to be very, very exposed unless he's careful.
yeah, I mean that drop looked like it was just a feint basically, and these Banelings are a little out of position. Although Burrow did just finish, so he might try and burrow some here on the ramp.
And we see Optical's gone ahead and gotten siege tanks here at the ramp. They got range right on that ramp, and he's going to go ahead and maybe, yep, send
Yeah,
a
it looks
couple
like
of those
he's
Marines
just
to
gonna.
that third and just sort of kill that because there's nothing there. There's 1 Queen, and that's not going to be able to hold, looks like 7 or 8 Marines here.
Yeah, I mean that's a really nice play. That's something that we see Flash actually do a lot. Flash being the #1 Terran in the world in Brood War right now, and for a long time, you'll see him make a really nice tank contain and missile turret contain, and
See,
then
these
just send
Marines
little
are
squads
into
of
this
Marines.
natural as well at the same time. It's great APMs from RH, but those Zerglings getting a surround
Oh, and he's
on it.
wasting a lot of Banelings, only killing a couple of Marines there, and that's another mistake from Hyper. And these Marines are actually doing way too much damage, taking out a Queen and all of these gas miners. As meanwhile, at the top of the in the north expansion, the north expansion totally gone,
Yep.
and he's actually looks like he's getting an armory.
So yeah, we'll see what that means for him. But once again, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, Hyper is not transitioning here. He's got a couple of infestors again, but at this point, you know, you're down a game. You really have to switch up your strategy. You have to do something different to catch your opponent off guard. We see these are great infested Terran moves right here from those infestors though to get rid of those siege tanks. And it looks like he's going to go up here and try and finish off these Marines before they kill this last Overlord. It's not going to be in time though, I don't think. And he just sort of decided against it. But yeah, I mean, it's the exact same strategy from Hyper as it was last game. And, you know, RH isn't really surprised by anything that's going on right now. And I think if you're a game down in a best-of-5 series, a lot of the times what you see is people switch up their strategies a little bit, and Hyper's really not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. You know, it looks like he's trying to put down this third again. His Optical's going to move out with a lot of tanks and a lot
He's
of
also got a
Marines
drop
and
here at the
medevac.
same time. Yep, the drop is down
Yeah.
there going for the natural. It's the same move he pulled just a couple of seconds ago, actually. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and it looks like he did scout that drop, and he's actually got 2 medevacs here going to drop, and it looks like he's going to put one into the main and one into the natural while pushing and pressing in this front door. And that's some really great multitasking here by RH, and Hyper's having a lot of trouble keeping up with it.
Yeah, and Hyper's got these infestors here, and they're burrowed, and they're sort of wandering around back here, and you know, there is no sight from RH here, but he's going to do the exact same thing. Just get a couple of sieges down right there on the ramp, get within range, and nice infestation, a couple of nice Banelings there, but it's not going to be enough, I don't think, from Hyper. I mean, there's a couple of Marines that just got dropped here in the natural. There's Marines back here in the main, and it's another GG
There's
because
the
he's just
GG.
losing so many. It was 63/30 by the time the game was over, and you know, Hyper just completely out APM there by OpticalRH. It was a great move by him.
I mean, actually, if you look at the APMs, Hyper was putting out about 150, and Optical was only putting out about 100, but that's not even it. He was just using them so much more efficiently. If you look at a player like White Raw only plays at about 100 APM. He just uses them so efficiently that he doesn't really need any more than that. And Optical just doing an amazing job multitasking there, and Hyper just wasn't able up to the task.